Century Next Bank is proud to sponsor Digital Weather Desk with local meteorologist Jared Floyd.
The Digital Weather Desk is your local source for the latest weather information to help keep you and your family safe and to plan your week. You can follow us on our social media platforms, download our app, and you can also find us at digitalweatherdesk.com. The Digital Weather Desk,
Powered by Century Next Bank.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. I'm Jared Floyd. Happy Friday, day before Valentine's Day. So it's decision time. you either need to get that gift or get that gift, or make some plans. Check of I-20 this morning, and the westbound lanes appear to be moving smoothly, which is good news compared to where we were yesterday evening with the snarl up at Vansel Road and those areas. But everything seems to be moving okay, at least at this hour. Granted, it is 7:30, so I would expect volume to increase over the next half hour or so. Temperatures still chilly in some spots. Even the 30s have snuck back in. Most of us held in the 40s during the overnight. 48 in Monroe, 38 in El Dorado, 37 in Camden, 50 in Natchez, 48 currently in Vicksburg. Visibility is a factor in some spots. Susie, good morning to you. Visibility down to a mile or less in some locations in the southern counties and parishes, so just be aware of that as you head out and about this morning. Shouldn't be a widespread problem, at least in our area, but if you're headed south, could be a headache in the next couple of hours. By the way, this morning's forecast made possible by ServPro. Monroe West, Monroe faster than any size disaster. Call or click servpro.com for more. Janice, good morning to you. Dew points relatively dry in the grand scheme of things. Now, in terms of where they are with our actual air temperatures, the air is actually pretty saturated, but expect the air to dry out a smidge as we go through the afternoon, and then low-level moisture increases ahead of the rain chances this weekend. Kim, good morning. Check of wind speeds, fairly light across the region. That is allowing for a little bit of that fog production to our south. And as we go through the day, we do expect to be sharply warmer. Sunshine will greet us through the early parts of the day. Your day planner made possible by the Monroe Chamber of Commerce and Leaders of Change. Learn more at monroe.org. Mid-70s by the end of the afternoon. Some areas could even see the upper 70s. The clouds will start to gather progressively as we go through the day. Janet, good morning. The clouds will continue to gradually increase as we head through the daytime hours tomorrow. Infrared satellite shows not a lot of cloud cover out there right now. Most of what we're seeing is high clouds. And as the sun starts to wake up on this Friday, most of us will be greeted with a pretty nice day to start. And most of Friday should be quite nice. A little breezy, perhaps a tad by the end of the day, but most of our bigger focus in terms of showers and storms really waits until the latter half of the day tomorrow. That's not to say you can't run into some rain early in the day, but most of that would likely stay rather light. Your radar made possible by Brown's Roofing. Most of our locations, as we set the stage for this weekend, will see rainfall. It's just a matter of how much thunderstorm activity and what the rain totals land at in those areas, and obviously storm-driven rains will be the heaviest totals that we see. Check a futurecast, and of course, as we go through the nighttime hours tonight, clouds will continue to increase. Sets the stage for a general just kind of stream of Gulf moisture, although it is not an aggressive moisture return across the area. We'll get to dew points in a minute. That's one of the limiting factors toward a lot of our thunderstorm potential as we go through the day, just the lack of instability. And then eventually, a lot of what we're expecting storm-wise will really be fueled by the actual front passing through. A lot of it's just kind of at the base of this upper-level system. I don't really expect a lot of prefrontal, hullabaloo, not a lot of discrete supercells or anything like that. This is not that kind of severe weather setup. In fact, it's a quite isolated severe weather setup. It looks to be just mainly a rain and storm maker. So as we plan the weekend, and we've talked about this storm system all week, one, because it will be a rain maker. Two, it will bring thunderstorms. And three, because it's happening on the weekend, Valentine's Day weekend, we really kind of sounded the alarm bells early, just like hey, if you have outdoor plans, may want to think about moving them inside. And it's really one of those instances where advance notice doesn't necessarily imply some large outbreak of severe weather or sometimes you just see a storm system out ahead of time. And now, usually you kind of keep an eye out for a more concentrated severe weather threat during that stretch, but in this instance, it was just a storm system that was pretty persistent in its timing as it moved through the area. Now the timing has run a little bit later as we've progressed through the week, and now instead of it being a Saturday evening type scenario, it's more of a Saturday night type scenario. And I know some folks adjusted plans for Saturday night and are going, well, we probably could have just left them where they were. That would have been a really kind of tough gamble, especially if you had to make those decisions earlier in the week. So the storms will move through Saturday night, continue to advance rather quickly, but again, we'll dump some pretty quick, efficient rain totals across the area. Some quick 1 to 2 inch rain totals seem very plausible for most of the region. And then those storms will advance during the pre-dawn hours on Sunday out of our area with wraparound showers and pesky cloud cover and breezy conditions expected through a good chunk of the day on Sunday. Again, dew points are not overly impressive. They will be enough to fuel at least an isolated severe weather threat, but as we go into the afternoon hours on Saturday, Futurecast really shows those dew points, and Futurecast is made possible by Bayou Power Sports, I-20 Frontage Road in Monroe. You really want those numbers in the mid-60s to fuel severe activity. Not that we want that, but you, again, know what I mean. Near 60 is not really going to fuel a concentrated severe weather potential. Keep in mind that as we go through the afternoon hours on Saturday, the front's still well off to our west, so these types of numbers, again, aren't going to fuel any kind of discrete thunderstorms out ahead of that main line of storms immediately close to the boundary. Now, as we work deeper into the night, we do get some deeper moisture in at the surface to kind of stream in, but the atmosphere is really starting to stabilize, the air's starting to cool. By that point, we will probably have already started to see a little bit of prefrontal shower activity. So again, as I've said for the last 2 days or so, the environment is not really aligning favorably to support a significant severe weather threat. A look at storm energy, CAPE, convective available potential energy. So we go through the afternoon hours, usually 2, 3, 4 o'clock. It's kind of prime daytime heating, and the atmosphere really destabilizes. We're cloudy, and we really don't destabilize at all during the afternoon hours on Saturday. Now, we do get some storm energy to work with late as we get the deeper plumes of moisture and some warmer air and just more favorable ingredients. We talked about lapse rates yesterday. I'm not going to get into the specifics about what those means. Basically, just how the air cools as you move higher in altitude, and those numbers and that rate has a lot to do with how fast storms can build vertically in the atmosphere. And again, a lot of those numbers are just kind of meh. They're really lackluster to a scenario that would feed any kind of appreciable, prolonged, concentrated severe weather threat. Could we see a few severe thunderstorm warnings Saturday night? Yes. Could we see a rogue tornado warning or two Saturday night? Certainly possibility. I just can't really say with a lot of certainty that we can guarantee those types of things. So here's a look at the severe weather threat. And again, all your severe weather outlooks and hazards are made possible by Allegiance Health Network, providing high-quality, patient-centered care through a clinically integrated network of healthcare professionals. The marginal risk has been trimmed a little bit farther southward. Main concern would be damaging wind gusts. Again, there's some pretty strong winds aloft, so it may not take much to get some of those stronger winds down to ground level. But I think some 35 to 40 mile an hour thunderstorm wind gusts will be rather routine, just simply because of the stronger winds associated with this system. But the severe wind gusts, 58 miles an hour or higher, those may be hard pressed to see in a concentrated form as we go through the day or into the nighttime hours on Saturday. Rain totals, generally in the 1 to 2 inch range. Highest totals will be farther northwest. Those folks probably get a little bit more consistent rain and kind of a slower moving start to the storms, and then as they kind of gather their strength and sweep eastward, those rain totals become a little bit more limited. Again, this should be kind of about a 6-hour window for thunderstorms, from about 9 p.m. to 3 a.m., somewhere in that ballpark. It's not necessarily a prolonged window, so that's going to limit the storm totals, which is not a bad thing. A look at the flash flood risk or the excessive rain outlook. Periods of heavy rain, storm-driven rains could still lead to some localized street flooding. So let's go back through a few of the other things that I've kind of mentioned through the week. First off, periods of heavy rain, given the ice storm that we saw 2 weeks ago in some areas. I know some spots are faring better than others, but for those hard-hit areas that still have a lot of tree debris and leaves and sticks and just stuff on the ground, vegetation, if you will, on the ground, be aware that a lot of that stuff's going to clog drainage ditches and things like that. So a quick burst of heavy rainfall may be more problematic now than it usually would be this time of year, given these types of rains. Also, we continue to talk about the winds. I'm not going to show you a wind graphic, but I would expect winds to become breezy late tonight and early tomorrow, and continue to stay breezy through the day Saturday and into Sunday. Nothing egregious, nothing crazy, but gusts up to 30 miles per hour are going to be a possibility. 30 to 35 mile an hour gusts will be a possibility late Saturday and then through a good chunk of the early part of the day on Sunday. Are those big deals? And as I mentioned a couple of days ago, no. In the grand scheme of things in February, you're going, Jared, why are you making such a big deal about that? Simply because of all the tree debris that's still lingering, suspended. A lot of these trees have not been tended to, that are structurally compromised. So you may see tree branches and trees fall in 30 mile an hour or 35 mile an hour winds when typically you wouldn't expect to see that. Again, it's a possibility. So if the power goes out randomly at some point, this weekend, you shouldn't be shocked, because those are all possibilities. Mid-70s for highs today. Lows tonight, mid to upper 50s. The clouds will increase. The spotty rain chance overnight not out of the question. Winds will stay out of the east-southeast and then return to the southeast as we go through the day tomorrow. 7-day forecast made possible by 3B Hardware shows the rain likely for Valentine's Day late, mainly afternoon and night. In fact, the rain chances do go up to 90 to 100% depending on location for Saturday night and Sunday morning. So just be aware of that, that the daytime rain chances are the only ones really indicated here on the 7-day. The nighttime rain chances are out there as well. You can find them on the app and at digitalweatherdesk.com. But again, for the vast majority of the region, the rain chances, actually the entire region, the rain chances go up to 90 to 100% for Saturday night and Sunday morning. We will trend a little bit cooler, cloudy, and breezy for Sunday, with highs only climbing into the mid-60s, and then 70s for the early parts of next week, near 80 by next Wednesday or Thursday. So Fat Tuesday will be warm. Ash Wednesday will be warm as well, back near 80, morning lows in the 50s to near 60 by the end parts of next week. Now, in full disclosure, I know a lot of folks see 80-degree temperatures in February and go, it's got to be some kind of severe weather threat coming. I usually think that too. I think 80 in February, I go, that's not good. That's not good at all. I don't really see any kind of significant storm system next week. So we're just going to trend above normal, and that's about it. That's at least what we have for right now. Could change. Obviously, if it does change, I'll let you know, because that's what we do here. Lots of folks saying good morning and hopping in, and I appreciate you taking the time out to be a part of our little community. May and Susan and Bobby and Rita and Melva and Debbie and Becky and Debbie. Good morning to all of you. Again, I think a lot of folks are happy to see that little burst of spring, perhaps, early next week. Does that mean winter's done? No. I really am starting to have a lot of doubts on whether we could, I've had my doubts for a while, but now I'm really having some heavy doubts on how much time we will drop below freezing for the rest of the season. I do think we will drop below freezing again. I do think some areas will spend some considerable time still below freezing. But in terms of prolonged punches of cold air, that does not appear to be in the pattern, at least in the next 7 to 10 days. So for those that are looking for winter weather at the end of the month, I don't know who told you to look for it, but it appears very unlikely. And it is extremely unlikely. It is not going to happen in the next week. Forecast is always available at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the Digital Weather Desk app, available for Apple and Android users. Kathy and Randy, Louisiana Cooker, good morning. Thank you all so much for joining. Too Long Didn't Read comes out at 9:30. I will be visiting with the bright, shining faces of Ouachita Christian School here in about an hour or so. Families, we're back. My wife and kiddo are back in town. The kiddo is a little under the weather, so that may kind of make us ebb and flow some of these live streams today, but I'll join you midday with a look at the forecast. I'll join you later this afternoon with a look at the forecast. We do get an update on the severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center at roughly 11:30 this morning, so I wouldn't expect our midday live stream any earlier than that. I'm going to let that outlook come out before we update the forecast. Doesn't make a lot of sense to have old data when I'm trying to give you a fresh look at the forecast. That's why we appreciate the flexibility of the live stream scheduling and stuff like that, because we can bend and flex for when the forecast data comes out or when updates come out, when watches are issued, those types of things, we can adjust and monitor accordingly. Again, two more live streams for the rest of the day. Too Long Didn't Read at 9:30. Fishing Game later tonight. And then, of course, I'll keep you updated with the weather as we go through the weekend. Usually the content kind of slows down a little bit for Saturday and Sunday, but obviously tomorrow being an active day, we'll keep you updated with things as we go through your Saturday as well. Thanks so much for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. As always, we're so glad you're here. Thanks so much for being part of this community, and we'll see you in a couple of hours.